welcome. Hey, man. Thanks for coming over.
How are you, man?
This is another episode of Comedy on 11 where my funny friends come over and we turn the funny up past 10. This week I'm here with...
Past 10?
Up past 10.
Oh, wow. So 10 isn't enough anymore.
Up to 11.
Oh, okay.
Up to 11. Like that old...
This one goes to 11.
This one goes to 11.
Yes.
That's where I got the idea for the show, man. Like I
love it.
Like we were saying off air, like I needed to find something that I loved.
Uh-huh.
And there's nothing I love more than sitting around with you and the guys in the green room.
Sure.
Just cutting up and bullshitting.
That can sometimes be 10 times better than the show.
Oh my! The times I finish a night and I look at the audience and go, if you guys were in the back.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's, you know what it is? It's like prepared jokes are good. Mm-hmm. Comedy shows are good. Being on stage is good. But something about hanging out in the back in the green room is next level, because you know what you get? You get the uncensored version of super hilarious people. Right. Like people that have a on-stage persona, but in the green room they can let it hang out. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a different vibe.
The conversation is richer because you don't have to pull back. You don't have to worry about having to censor yourself. Right. So you get to really shoot from the hip in a way that sometimes you can on stage. Mm-hmm. And I think it's always funny when I spend time in the green room with a comic and they're mad about something. Like, that's always the best.
It's always the best. Because you know there's some drama or some shit.
Like, if you get a riled up version of one of your favorite comics, you're like, ooh, that was good.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite green room incidents?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, I recently was at a club and... You know, I didn't even plan for this to happen, but we got on a subject about someone that is universally disliked in comedy. And they're like a super nice guy that was in the green room at the time, but they went off. And it was hilarious because it was like right before they went on stage. And I was like, oh my God, I think I accidentally set them off. But it was great, though. It was great. It made me really happy.
Hey, it's Tom. We're going to be doing something a little different for the next few weeks. Since the YouTube algorithm hates super long videos, I'm going to be releasing best of the episode versions of the podcast on Thursdays for a little while. They'll be 8 to 15 minutes long, and if you like it and you'll want to watch the full episode, you'll find a link at the end of this to the whole podcast episode. And of course, you can listen to the whole thing on your favorite podcast player. The List Show will be back in a little while. I picked up a new gig as one of the new hosts over at Task and Purpose. So between that and stand-up comedy, I'll have a lot of content out there across the internet for you. So thanks for watching. Now, let's hit it. You wrote on the Oscars the notorious year of the slap, correct?
I did. I wrote on the craziest Oscars of all time. It's funny, they just Conan O'Brien's hosting the Oscars this year, and so they just released the writing staff, and he's using a lot of his writers. Right. And it's funny, I congratulated a buddy of mine that's writing this year. And it does, like, I am still slightly triggered by the whole thing because, like, you put so much work into making the show great. Mm. This was post the pandemic. It was the first time that people were together again. There was this sense of normalcy. You put a lot of pressure on yourself to do a great job. And the slap happened within the last half hour of the show. It's a long show, like a 3-hour show. And you're ready to, like, party and celebrate.
And for people who don't know what we're talking about, is the year that Will Smith
slapped Chris Rock. Yes. Over a joke.
Over a joke.
And
who
a
wrote
softball
the joke?
of a joke.
Softball
Of a joke. I did not write the joke. I can confidently say that. I did not write the joke. It's not really about the joke, which is the weird thing because, I think that's what gets lost in the history of that thing is it's become about the joke. It's not about the joke. It's more about the reaction to something that is done in an entertainment space, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you do so much work to make that show great. the last thing you want is for something like that to happen where it jumps off the train. So it was depressing. I felt bad for everybody that actually won awards that night.
Yeah.
Because their moment was usurped by this one thing. I'm friends with both Will and Chris. So that was awkward and difficult. You know, this was my first Oscars, and maybe because of that, my last. I don't know. I don't know, dude. It was not good. It was not good. It was depressing.
What was the vibe at like the after party? Like the
Well, that's the weird thing is, you know, the Oscars are literally at a mall. You know what I mean? Like it's on, you know, it's you're at a mall, like a nice mall. Yeah. It's, you know, it's in the Dolby Theater, and the first party is the Governor's Ball, which is upstairs from the mall, right? So I went with my daughter that year, and she had on this big, you know, flowy dress. So I remember I was carrying the train of her dress up the escalator, and it was like the slap happened. I didn't know if the show was going to continue or not. Then it ends, and then we're on this escalator going up to the Governor's Ball, which is the first party, but everybody's like shocked. They're like, at that time, people didn't think it was real. They thought it was staged. So that was most of the conversation was, yo, that thing that just happened, was that real?
Right.
And, you know, as a writer, I was like, yeah, it was real. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it really happened. So there was just this confusion, and it was just awkward. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because nothing like that had ever happened before. Right. We were all kind of processing it. You know, it's multiple months of work kind of down the drain. Like, it was weird. It was, I rushed to the bar. And I remember I had a conversation with the bartender because it's a party, dude. Right. Like, it's the Oscars, you know, it's like, and I was very candid with the bartender. I said, I just wrote on my first Oscars. I should celebrate. I think I need a drink. And the bartender was great. They were like, yeah, you did that. Here's a drink. And I drank that damn thing. Yeah, it was weird, dude. It was a very weird night. But after the slap happened, everyone I've ever met throughout my life tried to contact me that night. And then the next day, like the head writer said, going into the night, you're probably going to get solicited by newspapers wanting you to comment on something that happened, you know, with the Oscars, like just on a normal Oscars. Yeah. And they said, you know, we encourage you to respectfully decline because no matter what you say will get turned against you, right? Right. And that's before the slap.
That's before the slap.
With the slap, I remember the New York Times, the Post, TMZ, like they all called. One reporter said, hey, I saw that you were a writer on the Oscars. Do you want to talk about it? And I was like, absolutely not, right? No. So then he goes, just between you and me, this is off the record.
It's never off the record.
It's never off the record.
Never off the
record.
Like,
I was smart enough to be like, come on, dude. Like, come on. Right. Like, first of all, you mispronounced my name. So, like, I'm not trusting you, dude. But it was weird, dude. It was like, it was interesting, too, because to be at the epicenter of something that was global like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it was global. Like, Will is one of the biggest stars on the planet. Chris Rock is one of the biggest stars on the planet. The Oscars is live.
One of the biggest nights in entertainment.
It's the biggest. Yeah, it's the Super Bowl of Hollywood. It was interesting to then move through the world knowing that you had insider information, but you had to hear everyone's perspective that wasn't there, had nothing to do with it, and just had their 2 cents. Yeah. Like, I remember I was sitting in the barbershop, you know, my black barbershop, and everybody's talking about it. And
did they know that you worked on it?
No, no, my barber knew.
Right.
But I wasn't saying anything, dude. I was just a dude trying to get a haircut. But everyone's talking about it, and it's barbershop talk.
Yeah.
And their perspective is, man, if that was me, he wouldn't have slapped me. And, I was like, dude, A, you wouldn't have been there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have been there.
Right.
Like, that's first and foremost.
Yeah.
And anyone can say how they would have reacted in a situation, but you weren't there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I commend Chris Rock. I've always respected him, but I had the utmost respect for him that night because the way he handled it, and it was a product of those late show, second show Fridays where you've always got somebody drunk in the crowd that you have to manage something that has gone off the rails.
Yep.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And keep the show on track and moving. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen in that moment. I thought, we could, the show could just end right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I really didn't know what was going to happen. So I commend him. He's somebody that I've always respected, and it's unfortunate that happened, but I am part of history in terms of writing on the weirdest Oscars of all time.
That's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a part of any of them.
Yes, if you're going to write on one Oscars, like, that's probably the one to write on.
Because if you say the slap,
everyone knows
what that
everyone
is.
knows, yeah.
But if you said, hey, remember the year XX, this one? No idea.
Nope. And you know what? Part of me, like, I used to do this joke where I was like, man, why couldn't I write on the year Ellen DeGeneres took a big selfie? You know what I mean? Like the normal white Oscars. Yeah. But, it is what it is.
All right, man.
Highs
nights,
and lows, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna bomb sometimes, and that's gonna hurt you in your heart. You need those wins to keep you going.
I had Paul Mooney tell me one time I was funny, and my brain
really
almost exploded.
That's genius.
And
I loved Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney was so, like, he used to do the Christmas shows at the Laugh Factory. Like, they do shows there, for people in need of a meal for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then Jamie does a comedy show, to entertain them. And it's literally, you go on stage for 10 minutes and more than likely you're going to bomb.
You're fighting.
You know what I mean? Like, you're fighting.
Yeah.
You're fighting. Like, they really don't want to hear it.
Unless you're Tiffany Haddish, Tim Allen, Dane Cook, and left
But
your
even
name.
Tiffany does a dance contest and gives away money.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? Like, she knows her audience. She knows her audience. So you literally take one for the team, but for good reason, right? And so Jamie, back in the day, would have Paul Mooney go on, and Paul Mooney would literally almost walk the room. Like, he went up. We would all go into it like, it's going to be what it is. Right. We're doing a good, we're taking one for the team. Right. Mooney was like, I'm doing my act. And if you don't like it, and if it scares you or offends you, that's on you.
That's amazing.
And it was, dude, it was, I laughed like some of the hardest, like, doubled over belly laughs watching Paul Mooney basically walk a room full of homeless people and out of work actors. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of wanted to fight him. Like, it was great. That's great. Amazing. Yeah, it was great, dude.
We both have friends who are literally rock stars.
Oh, for sure.
Rakim.
Yeah.
There's a saying, and I always attribute it to Dave Grohl, and I ask this question all the time. I think Grohl said, every comedian wants to be a rock star. Every rock star wants to be a comedian.
Sure.
Do you agree?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like you can throw athletes into that mix also, because athletes value comics in the same way as rock stars. Okay. You know what I mean? Because there is power in knowing you can get on stage by yourself with a microphone and rock it. And there is power in being able to make pretty girls laugh. You know what I mean? It's like having a guitar without a guitar. You know what I mean? Like, it may not work as fast, but it does work. Yeah. And there is power there. Like, I remember one night at the Laugh Factory, Halle Berry and Uma Thurman were there. Ooh. And there was nothing better than to go on stage and see both of those A-list, beautiful women laughing at your jokes. Like I got off stage and Halle Berry was like, "You're really funny," and I was like, "You're Halle Berry."
Yeah. Yeah, that's how those nights are.
Yes, yes, yes. So,
And it's just you and a microphone. There's
it's
no...
you and a microphone, and people like. The great thing about comedy is like if people get your vibe and they like your sense of humor and they like, how you do it.
Yeah.
It's a win. Like
Yeah.
you make friends for life.
Yeah.
And
I didn't get all the girls I got because I'm handsome.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you keep it real, that's the reason why a lot of people get into comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it does the work for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it
You have a
helps.
great set, you don't have to sell yourself. Like those laughs sold you.
Yep.